What's up, you guys? My name's Hutch. I make videos, put them on the internet. Welcome to another edition of Ask Hutch, where you guys ask me questions on the Twitters. You guys get the drill. Just jump right into it. Brady wants to ask, what's the life philosophy you've held on to since you were young? I don't know. I don't know. I think it would be probably giving myself too much credit to say that I've been a man of principle my whole life, but if there was one thing that I thought was more important than any other thing since I was a kid, it would probably just be just like a base level of respect for everybody, not going out of your way to make anybody feel different or ostracized. But again, I mean, like, I don't know, that's a really tough question to ask. Do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. That would probably be the principle that I would pick there. Caesar wants to ask, do you believe we'll ever make contact with aliens within our lifetime? No. Alex wants to ask, if memory wiping technology existed like the film, like in the film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, would you use it? Love you. Aw, thanks. I don't think I would use it because, like, as much as I love that film and as much as I love like the core message or the core message that I took from the film, which is no matter how hard it is with some people, you just can't stay away from them. And there's something, as dysfunctional as that is, there's something kind of romantic about that. And as much as I like that sentiment, I don't think Clem and Joel were ever going to be happy with each other. So, no. Henry wants to ask me, what was the point when you became comfortable with being yourself in public? Any tips to help with social anxiety? I think I have some tips for that. You know, if I'm going to qualify, if I'm going to go back a little bit and talk about my experience, I've had periods of my life where anxiety was so crippling that leaving the house was horrifying. There's no other word for it. Any kind of eye contact with anyone else, any kind of perceived threat of like judgment or anything like that, which was everywhere in my mind at the time. So, I mean, it was pretty debilitating. I wouldn't say that I was agoraphobic, which is you're afraid to leave the house, but it was not great. And what worked for me was it was like this like twofold approach to it. At first, what I ended up doing is I ended up taking all that anxiety and kind of turning it into anger, and I actually kind of directed it at the world around me. And so I would walk around chanting like a mantra in my mind, like, who gives a fuck about these people? I don't care what they think about me. And it closed me off to people in a lot of ways, and it prevented me from being, I mean, I was never an outright dick to anyone. I kept all these thoughts in my head, but, you know, after a while, those thoughts ended up kind of being directed inwards, like, well, actually, you know, why do I care so much about what other people think? And it became less about what they thought about me, and it became more about how I saw myself in the world. And once I was able to, like, reach that point, then it became a lot easier. I was able to let go of some of the anger that I had towards, you know, all these people that I didn't know, and I was able to direct it back at myself, and it led to, I think, a period of honest, like, reflection. And I can safely say that I don't feel that way in public anymore. I can be in public with 500 or 500 people, you know, 200,000 people at EDC in Vegas and not really feel uncomfortable at all. Joey says, what was the most difficult decision you've ever had to make in life? Also, Chris Jericho or The Rock. The most difficult decision I ever had to make in my life was when me and my ex decided to end our marriage. That was really, really tough. I mean, like, it was pretty obvious, I think, to both of us that it was not working and that it wasn't going to work, but there's something about getting married that sort of changes the gravity of that kind of decision. So all of a sudden you have to, I don't know how to explain it. Like, what ended up happening for me is the more difficult it got, the more I wanted to dig my heels in and prove to myself and other people that I didn't make a mistake, or that we didn't make a mistake in the first place. And that ended up being necessary, like a necessary period of, like, suffering. And I don't think I would have been able, or we would have been able to walk away from each other if it weren't for like the inevitability of fighting and conflict, and like we needed to go through that to kind of understand the truth of our situation. And it was a really tough decision. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. That was a really tough time for me. And fucking Jericho, what kind of a question is that? I don't get it. Diego, why did you want to be a professional poker player? What's your favorite hand? I wanted to be a professional poker player because poker is fucking fun. Like really, really stimulating, really exciting. It will get your adrenaline going. I mean, it's really unhealthy, that what I'm about to say right now, but it gets your adrenaline going so much that I was able to sit down at a poker table for over 48 hours. It was completely fucking batshit crazy. I never want to do that again. I never want to go back to that again, but in a lot of ways, it was fun. But again, I have no desire to be a professional poker player anymore. It took me, losing a lot of hands and a lot of money before I realized either I'm not prepared right now or I never will be. But regardless, this lesson is too expensive for me to learn. And so I walked away. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? From Beth Evans. I think realistically I see myself in a family. I think I'm probably gonna have kids. I don't know. I really don't know. If I died without having kids, I don't think I would be devastated. It's not like my life's goal to have children. But realistically, I see myself raising a kid or two and having a family. And as far as like where I'm going to be at in the gaming space or for work, I try to leave myself pretty open, and that's worked out for me so far. Instead of, if I would have committed myself to one thing early on, I would have completely missed the boat with this YouTube thing. So for me in this space, with my circumstances, I've learned to as long as I just keep working hard and putting my best foot forward, opportunities just seem to present themselves. And there's a lot of opportunity for like lateral movement in this industry. If you learn one thing over here, you can use it over here. So I don't worry about that too much. I mean, obviously thoughts pop in my head like, well, how much legs does this career have? But I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I had people telling me in the first year of doing YouTube, like, this isn't going to last another year for you. And here I am like 7 years later. So I try not to pigeonhole myself too much as far as like one specific career path that I should be taking. But yeah. Naz wants to ask, what are your thoughts on feminism? I'm anti-feminism myself. The feminism that I was, what I learned about in university and just on my own, like I love history. I especially love U.S. history. It's not boring for me to pick up a book like People's History of the United States and just sit there and read it all day. I'm completely fascinated, and the type of feminism that I learned about when I was a youngin came from like the suffrage movement of like women taking to the streets and fighting for their right to vote. And then there's also a lot of things like they couldn't even open a bank account unless they had their husband's signature. And so you had very real issues at the time that, some of them have been resolved and some of them haven't been resolved. And the word feminist can't be dirty in itself, otherwise the word feminazi wouldn't exist. I think I just had this conversation with someone the other day, but I think a lot of young people think that all feminists are feminazis, and all women that describe themselves as feminist, or anyone that describes themselves as feminist, well, that's the wrong way to look at it. You should call them humanists. Okay, I guess that would be a good end goal, but in order to get to that, we still need to make some steps in order to ensure that people have equal opportunity in this country and all over the world. And I think once we get to that point, then we can all call each other pizza. So I guess the point that I was trying to make was that even though some people take things like feminism too far and literally try to like launch a war on dudes, I recognize the reason why people like that exist. People go to extremes like that to counteract other extremes that are already present in the world. And there's a lot of fucking crazy misogynists in the world. You cannot deny that. So feminism is not a dirty word to me at all. I think I would probably consider myself a feminist and a humanist. I think I would consider myself both. I don't care. It's all kind of semantics at that point. Like if you think that everybody should have an equal opportunity to succeed or make a life for themselves in this country, then I think technically you're a feminist. James asks, when life gets you down, what do you do to pick yourself back up? Most of the time, I'm not picking myself back up. I go to my friends, man. My friends save my ass. I feel really fortunate in that regard because I have really close friends that it's not abnormal for us to call each other and be like, listen, I'm really fucked up right now, and I can't seem to get out of this funk. Can I just like come over and kick it? And you know, we don't even have to talk. I just need to be around people. And the friends that I have are like, yeah, totally, whatever. Like 11 o'clock at night, doesn't matter. They'll pick up the phone and they'll make the effort to show up for me. And I feel really, really blessed in that regard. So I a lot of the times, guys, I wouldn't try and pick yourself up when you're feeling down. I would ask somebody else to help you. And you know, friends, family, that's what they're there for. And plus, there's unlimited resources out there, and well, they're limited. There are lots of resources out there. Doesn't matter what state or county you live in. There's a lot of resources to help people in those situations that maybe don't have the means to go pay a psychologist $120 an hour. So I would ask for help. That would be the biggest thing that you could probably do for yourself. Madam Merciless asks, how do you feel about censorship on social media? That's kind of like a blanket. I'm not sure particularly what you mean when you say that. I'm gonna guess that you mean like what happened with the guy from ESPN recently who just tweeted some anti-transgender stuff and got fired from ESPN. I don't know how I feel about that. That's a good question, and I've asked myself that a bunch. Like, on the one hand, I really do believe that everybody gets to say whatever they want. I mean, inciting like hate speech and trying to incite violence is one thing, and I think that if you're a police department or a mayor of a city, then you have a right to step in and like prosecute that person to make sure that they don't fuck your city up. But on the other hand, if you're a company like ESPN, you get to say we are an inclusive company. We value diversity and we encourage other companies to do the same. When you have a company saying that, then you are taking a risk tweeting out some dumb shit like that guy did. That's a really tough question, and I don't think I have an answer to it. I see both sides in a lot of ways, because I'm not a fan of censorship almost in any situation whatsoever. I don't think I'm a fan of censorship, but at the same time, I also think that when you post anything on social media, it should be seen in the same light as if you were standing on the sidewalk saying this to a group of people. And if you're trying to provoke people, if you want to make controversial statements and you want to stir the pot, then expect the pot to be stirred and expect that there might be consequences. So there's like action reaction, and I think we're in the, you know, we're still in the very early stages of social media and the impact that it has on culture and law and legislation as well. But I think that one lesson that you can take away from all of this is your words carry weight. They have a very real effect on your life, and it's no longer the case that you can just hide behind this veil of anonymity on the YouTubes, on the internet, because you know what you say might come back to bite you later on. So I don't know. That's my honest answer. I don't know how I feel about it. Looks like that's gonna do it, guys. If you guys like this video, click thumbs up. Tell me that you like it. And yeah, I mean, I've been trying to do these kinds of videos more often and kind of go back to I'm trying to like reestablish like a connection with you guys and like make sure that you guys see like a personal side of me as well. And it's been going well. I've really enjoyed doing it. There's times when like if life's not going so great, I don't really want to do that because I don't feel like I have too much to contribute. But these days I'm feeling really good. You guys are helping me out with that too. You guys make me feel good every day. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.